All right, welcome back to the Fit Fatherhood Podcast. My guest today is Dominic Morris. Dominic is a financial advisor and has been a financial advisor since 2018. He started with D.A. Davidson, but he's now with Merrill Lynch slash Bank of America. He's married, two kids, and he's a high school varsity running backs coach. That's kind of dope. Um, he's all about financial literacy, and he's an advocate and teacher in the African American community. Dominic Morris, what's happening? How are you?
What's up, man? What's up? What's up? Yeah, also, I forgot to mention too, I just recently got a promotion, if you will. I'm the special teams coordinator now. Or
Look at
last year
that.
was my first year as special teams coordinator. Yeah, so
So you got
got to
you're
put that out
running
there.
reverses on kickoff.
Special teams you, man. Special
Yes,
teams you.
sir.
So,
That's
yep.
yeah. So the special teams, some young man is gonna learn from you and end up sticking on the NFL roster because he knows how to play special teams.
That's the goal, man. If I can do that, that's the goal. Just give me some tickets when you make it. That's all I ask.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So we haven't spoke in a while. So how's everything
Yeah.
going?
It's been going good, man. It's just been crazy busy. Just with the move to Merrill Lynch and coaching, things have just been going nonstop but all for good things. So all good things.
Yeah, yeah. So what prompted the move from D.A. Davidson to Merrill Lynch? Is that like a lateral move, or you moved up, or how does that work?
It was more of a move up. So starting at DA Davidson is a good place because it got me to get some exposure to the market
Mhm.
and give me exposure to the industry at not such a high scale like I would have if I started with a big firm like Merrill right off the bat. So I guess I want to say there wasn't as much pressure on me in the beginning, being
Mhm.
new and coming into a big firm like that. And then I just wanted to feel a little bit more of that pressure and growth. And so I had an opportunity to make a move, and I just decided that it was time. Also, because as a financial advisor, I feel like there's so much more now, especially with all the research and different things out there, that there's so much more to just giving investment advice. It's actual like finances and those kind of things and being able to help that. And since Merrill Lynch is part of Bank of America, I can now do that for my clients. So I don't have to just give them investment advice. I can do banking for them. For all my clients that are business owners, I can help them with small business loans if they need it. I can help them set up business banking accounts. Can help them sell their business if they want to. And then on the lending aspect, I can do refis, mortgages for clients, and then all that. So essentially, I'm a one-stop shop for my clients, so they don't have to really go anywhere else. If they don't want to, they can do it all with me. So,
Wow. So look, I my business, we bank through Bank of America.
oh
So I might need to require your services, sir.
yeah, man, I can get you the special rates on there. Talk to your boy.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
It's funny. I
yeah,
was going to ask you what it is that you do, but I think you laid it out pretty well there.
yeah,
So as a financial advisor, like, what is it like? How would I get like how would I even know to acquire your services? Like, how would I get to you? Because
yeah.
let me be honest. Like, I don't come from a family that's like balling or nothing like that. But I don't even think
Right.
that financial advisor is something you have to have when you're balling. But I don't think it's something that's talked about a lot.
Yeah,
Like, you should have
yeah.
a financial advisor. Only people that in my family that I know that have even had a financial advisor is I have a cousin that, or a couple cousins that played in the NFL, and like, okay, so they made a little money
Hmm.
and now they don't want to manage it. But like, most of
Right,
my family is like just grinding,
right,
9 to 5ers, or small business, and never really had a need for that. So
right.
how does somebody go about getting a financial advisor, and maybe why would someone need a financial advisor?
Yeah, I'll hit on that topic first on why. Because I before becoming a financial advisor, I thought the same exact thing. Well, like, why would I need a financial advisor for? And I think it's simple is more thinking of the long-term effects of how your family is going to be poised with you and a financial advisor. So what I mean by that is we don't want to think about these kind of things, but it's a reality that our time on in this world is limited. And usually the husband or the male in the family deals with the finances. And
Mhm.
so a lot of the times, unfortunately, we have unexpected deaths. divorces take place and that kind of stuff. And so the wife, the spouse are all dealt with having to deal with the finances, and they have absolutely no idea what to do. And so that's where a financial advisor can come into play, is because they are able to help that particular person with making those financial decisions. The other thing of why I think it's important to have a financial advisor is because a lot of the times we think it's just investments, but like I said, it's such a broader schedule. It's such a broader schedule that there's just so much more to it. And so I think the best thing that a financial advisor can do is I help. This is what I tell my clients. I help you protect your values and your goals. And I do that by providing exceptional advice. And what that exceptional advice is to help you make sure that any short-term financial decisions that you make do not affect any long-term financial decisions that you're going to have in the future. And so I think that's why it's important to have a financial advisor, is to help you make sure that you have kind of that little person on your shoulder to run decisions through and say, like, I'm thinking about doing this. And you may have somebody there to say, you know what, that might not be a good move to do. Like just jumping into it as an example, buying a house right now. Sometimes people really want to buy houses, but maybe it's not the right time. You think interest rates are low, but they're like, well, you're going to buy a house 20 to 30% over market price. So why would that make sense to do that right now? But you're so gung ho. You're like, I got the down payment, I got the money, and I want to do it. But realistically, waiting a year, waiting 6 months, you may find something that's a better fit for you, and you're not going to pay that much money overpriced, but you just have somebody in your ear that says this isn't the right decision to do right now. So that's why I think it's important to have a financial advisor. Where you can find them, that's more of a simpler question. I mean, financial advisors are mainly done through referral service. So asking a friend, do you have a financial advisor? There's so many things that you can, like, you literally can just Google financial advisor and you'll get, like, I don't know, 5 to 10 different types of sites that will pop up. But I think on the aspect of picking a financial advisor, I think that is more of a relationship type thing with somebody rather than what they do, essentially. And what I mean by that is, I think the relationship between me and the client is more important than actually everything that I can do, because that's very simplistic. The relationship is, are you and I going to jive together? Are you going to trust the recommendations that I give you? Are you going to trust the advice that I give you? If not, and you're going to question the decisions that I make, or we're going to go back and forth tit for tat, and you think that you know more than me and all that kind of stuff, then that's more than likely going to be a relationship that's not going to work between an advisor and a client. So I think making sure that the client knows what the advisor's process is, how they function as an advisor, what they do, all those kind of things are so important, because that's going to kind of establish the foundation and then moving forward. So.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like everybody needs a financial advisor to some degree. Like this,
To some degree, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and when you have and I think that's the thing too, is people think that when you get a financial advisor, you're like giving the reins up of your finances and your investment decisions and all that kind of stuff. And in some cases, there's some people that you say, you know what, I have a full-time job. I don't want to deal with my investments. I don't want to worry about that kind of stuff. You do it. You take care of it. And that's totally fine with me. Or there's some people there that are like, I want to have a say so in those kind of things, but I just want to make sure that I have the right resources. I have good recommendations coming in and that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of like, you just got that. And again, that goes back to my relationship thing. That's just kind of things that you have to establish in the beginning. Like, what do you want from your financial advisor? Like, what type of relationship are you looking for? What type of communication are you looking for? Those are all I feel those super main important things.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna ask you for some free financial advice for the listeners. Like, okay, so I'm a father. I got a family. What are, like, maybe, I don't know, your top 3 things that I need to kind of make sure that I have in place, or I don't know, maybe have more than 3 or less than 3. Like, what are the most important things that I need to do, as a provider for my family? Like, what do I need to make sure that I'm taking care of? Obviously,
yeah.
acquiring your services is one. I mean, I would say that's probably number one is, or someone like you, is like you said, it's relationship wise. But outside of that, like what do I need to do to set my family up? Just in the untimely event that I am no longer here.
Right.
What do you
Right.
suggest?
Yeah. So the first thing that I always suggest to my clients that has family is I ask them first, do they have an estate plan and a trust set up? And most of the time the answer is no, particularly in the Black community. And the reason why I express that is, one, that's how our families, your family and yourself, is able to keep your legacy going after you pass. The other part of the trust and the estate is it protects you and your assets, all of your assets. So not just your money, it protects your house, it protects your business, protects your cars, and it protects it from the states. So a perfect example, Chadwick Boseman, star of Black Panther, he passed, but he did not have an estate plan. And so what that did is cause still a year-long headache for his wife, to where she is in probate courts fighting to get her money. And it's her money. It's supposed to go to her, but because there wasn't an estate plan put together, it goes to the state first, and then the spouse or whoever has to go to the states to claim it. And so by the time you get it back after court fees and lawyer fees and everything else, you get maybe half of it back. So an estate plan avoids all of that. It's not a will, because people think, oh, I have a will, it says who gets what. That doesn't keep it away from the states. An estate plan protects it. It keeps it essentially in the family. And so it's one step that helps you make sure that you don't make your finances a burden onto your people that you're passing it on to. So that's number one, is getting an estate plan / trust set up. Number two is, if you have kids, especially the families that I work with that have younger kids, the first thing I always tell them is they need to set up a 529 college plan, because that is going to be very beneficial for them in the long term. It's a great gift, meaning that like my wife and I, for example, for our second son's first birthday, we said he doesn't need any toys. You can just donate to his college fund. And so grandparents can donate to it, aunts and uncles, cousins, everybody can donate to it. And it just gets invested in the market, and you just leave it there for 17 years. You don't even think about it. And then by the time your son or daughter goes to college, they have, if they did it at least 1 or 2, 3 years old, by the time they got to college, I think on the minimum side, they would have is about 80 to 90,000. If it's just contributions made to it per month, and then just it being in the market, you'll have on the minimum 80 to 90,000. And the other important thing too is like, let's just say your kid doesn't want to go to college. You can switch it over to your other kid, or if you don't have another kid, you can give it to your niece or a cousin or something like that. As long as it just goes to a child and gets used for college, it can be passed on. So it's essentially like a legacy for kids as well. So, and it's just used for the 529 plan is used for any kind of college expenses. So books, classes. I don't think it covers room and board. But it covers mostly everything except that. So those are the two main things, especially when dealing with families, that I always say that you want to set up too. If you want to tie in a third thing, life insurance, that's obviously important to have too at times, just depending, making sure you get in the right kind of policy, but that's kind of like a whole nother subject. But life insurance is also another good thing to have, just in case something does happen.
Got you. Okay. So you kind of mentioned, you mentioned your family. So you married, got 2 kids. How old are your kids?
I have a 3-year-old and a 17-month-old.
Oh, wow. Look at that, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How's that
Perfect
been?
ages.
Yeah. Are both boys?
I have 2 boys. Yeah. It's been going really good. They're at that age now to where they get on each other's nerves and they annoy each other. because one is playing with one thing and he wants to have his own time, and the younger, it's usually always the younger one wants to come mess with the older brother. My younger son, his name is Russell. My oldest is RJ or Ramon. He's a junior after me. So Russell is always trying to play with RJ, and sometimes RJ is like, dude, back up. I just want to be on my own. But Russell doesn't like it. So, but it's been great. I wouldn't change it for the world. Seeing them become best friends and protect each other and hang out and laugh, enjoy each other's company is an amazing feeling.
Yeah. Are you, do you have siblings yourself?
I do. I have one older brother. There's an 11-year age difference between him and I. So he's actually the reason why I became a financial advisor, because he has been a financial advisor since 2008. And coincidentally, he started with Merrill Lynch in 2008. And obviously the worst time to start out as a financial advisor was in 2008. But because of his grit and his grind, he made it through. But now he is an advisor at Wells Fargo. So
yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
So like what with two boys, 3 and 17 months, so you got two young kids. What's like the daily routine? What's going on? I haven't been there in a while.
Man. So it's actually changed a little bit, because my wife has been a stay-at-home mom for a while. And she recently, with COVID and everything that happened, she was a teacher in Arizona. And with COVID, she felt on her heart that she wanted to be able to give back to help these kids that are either struggling with school or have an opportunity to go back, but teachers are not wanting to go back. So she started teaching again. And so now the routine is, my wife is all about fitness. She works for this company called Beachbody. So she's a fitness coach. And her schedule is, she goes to work. I'm still working from home, so she goes to work. And so my morning schedule is, I wake up, I make the lunches for my oldest son. My youngest, he gets lunch for him, so that helps. And then I make lunch for my wife, so she gets to work out. I make breakfast after that for the kids, and make breakfast for my wife. After we get done doing that, we play around the house for a little bit, throw football, throw basketball. And then once we get done with that, we go get dressed, put our clothes on for school. We say our prayers once we get dressed. And then after that, it's time to go. We walk out to the car. I put them in their car seats, give them a kiss. I tell my boys every single day, make good choices. And then I give my wife a kiss, tell her how much I appreciate her and I love her. And I tell her to make good choices. And that's the morning, man. That's how it is. And after that, it's my time to start grinding and provide for the family. So I get to work and start doing my thing. So.
Wow. So all of that you just said happens before they leave the house? Like you list
that all happens before they leave the house. And then I still have a full day of
activity. Jesus Christ.
I know, man. So they're out of the house by like 8:30.
Oh,
so
wow.
There's no, it's so this is just a quick side story, is that there's no sleeping in anymore, obviously now. But as of recently, like a week or two ago, my wife was like, "Oh, it's nice that you got to sleep in," and I literally slept until like 7. And then I just started laughing. I was like, "It's so funny that we say sleeping in is 7 o'clock now, because it doesn't happen that often anymore." So, but anyways, yeah, man, that's the morning routine, and that's what we do. But I'm a fan of it because my boys know what's going on. They're very attentive to it, and it just gets them in the right mindset for when they go to school. So that way they're not going there wild and crazy. They're ready to learn and have fun and do. And obviously they're young, so they're going to have their moments and stuff like that. But I just want to make sure that they just have a good foundation, a good structure going on for them at a young age.
Yeah, that's really important, kind of setting that up, or at least having that routine where you guys, and it sounds like a really good one, because you guys are getting to spend a lot of like quality time early in the day. Like you're setting the tone for the rest of the day with some really quality time. So even in that time when you guys are apart, like you're apart right after like some really quality time together.
Exactly.
So that's dope. That's dope. Like I'm an early riser. Like I get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, kind of just even when I don't want to, like at my internal clock is like, yo, it's 5 o'clock. What are you doing right now?
Time to go off.
Yeah,
Yep.
get up. And my
Yep.
oldest daughter is as well. Like if I sleep in like at 6:30, I hear her like ticking around the house. Right? But my youngest and my wife, they'll sleep till like 10 o'clock if you let them. I'm like, yo, what is wrong with you two?
Right.
So we'll get up and we'll have like a whole day before they wake up. Like on a weekend
Yeah.
or something, like on a Saturday, like
Mhm.
we'll get up, we make breakfast, we might go outside and do some stuff. We'll go to the store, like you know what I mean? We come back and they just like wiping the crust out of their eyes. I'm like, we
Right.
had a whole
Right.
day already.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, man. Just with having kids and stuff, and obviously, it's just that clock just never gets turned off. Like you're always on the go, and at least you mentally, especially as a father, like you just don't want to be that father that just like lays around and doesn't do anything. Like you want to be an active father in your kid's life, and you want to make sure that you're doing things with them, because again, like I'm just a firm believer in just saying like you never know when your time is up, and
Right.
I don't ever want my kids to know and feel that their dad wasn't there enough for them and didn't do things with them and all that kind of stuff. That's, if I ever had a fear, that's like one of my biggest fears, is that they just felt alone and not really have a father figure in their life. So I try to make every intention possible to be with them and do things that I can with them, especially because as they get older, they're not going to want their dad around anymore. So I'm annoying the heck out of them as much as possible until they get to that point where they don't want me around. I'm still going to be there. But yeah, I just try to be very intentional with my time with my kids, man, because it's a blessing to have them, and I just don't ever want to take it for granted.
Yeah, that's like kind of the reoccurring trend, and like everybody that I've talked to about fatherhood is like, you never know uh when that's, when your number's called, right? Or you
Mm-hmm.
just don't know like how much they're never going to be this age again. Like tomorrow, they're not the same age they are today, and so you have to kind of take advantage and capitalize on the moment, right? And being
Right.
present in the moment, and like you said, being intentional about your fatherhood. And that's really really cool to hear, man, because that's a part of why the podcast exists. Is
Mm-hmm.
fatherhood is super important, and not only is it important, but it's actually a really cool job. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
man.
for all of the the complaining that people do about parenting and kids, like we complain about your kids all the time,
Right. Right.
but you love them to death, right? But
Exactly.
just the appreciation of how amazing it is to be called dad,
Right.
to be
Right.
somebody's father, to be responsible for other people's lives, not just now, but like 20 years from
Yeah.
now, you're like, oh man, my dad was
Right.
amazing, that kind of
Right.
thing. And not even for the
Right.
clout of it, but just because it's fulfilling.
Yeah, and not even that. I don't it's not a guarantee that everybody's going to be a father, and that's the other thing. Like I think back to like when I was training with you, like being a dad, like I wasn't even thinking about that. Like my mindset was on football, and I'm going to go here and I'm going to make it there. And then you got other dudes that are like wanting to be fathers, but unfortunately, given this whatever circumstance, they're not able to be a father.
Yeah.
And so I got the blessing to be one. And so like I even think about that, to where, again, that's why I said I don't want to take it for granted or anything, because there's guys out there that wish they could be a father and they couldn't, just given their
Right.
situation. So I see it as a huge blessing to be a father, and to not take it for granted, and to definitely make every moment worthwhile. Because I just think and that's the thing too, I just think there's just people that sometimes just take too much for granted and just don't realize like how good they got it just being a father in general. Even if your money situation isn't where you want it to be, but you got kids and you're there to be in their life. That's more of a blessing than anything. So
Right. Yeah, that's the real wealth, right? It's like that
yeah,
relate
exactly.
those relationships and that family is more than money for sure.
For sure, man.
So you mentioned back when you used to train with me, your dad used to bring you in, and if I remember correctly, he was a cool dude, man.
Oh
Um,
man, yeah.
how does that relationship and how he was as a father to you kind of tie into how you are as a father now? Is that something that you lean on, or you still you know,
Yeah,
hit him up like, Dad, what do I do?
easily for sure, man. Easily paved the way for me. I was blessed with an amazing father, and a role model to look up to. As you mentioned, like my dad knew how much football meant to me, and he wanted to give me every opportunity to be successful at it, no matter what it took, no matter how much money he had to put out there. So I was going to every camp, every training session, every college camp, all of that stuff. But not just that, though. He was a great um, a mental support for me, because there's a lot of times where I wasn't getting the right, getting the college scouts calling me. I didn't have the right grades at some point, and he was there to support me and pick me up. And he, in a way to where it's just like, dude, this is what you want. So you gonna grind out for it, or are you just gonna lay there and want things given to you? Because the things that are given to you are usually not the best. The things that you earn are better. So he made me mentally tough and mentally strong, but he just showed me the blueprint of what a father does for their kid. Like I always tell even my oldest son, I tell him this, even though he still doesn't understand, but my dad has not missed a football game that I've ever played in, dating back to Pee-wees. Like, he made it to every single high school football game. When I went to community college in Ventura, he went to every single game there, home and away. And then I went and played in Nebraska, and he went to every single game there as well, home and away. He did not miss a college game.
Wow.
And he showed me that, but it showed me his work ethic, though, because my dad has a full-time job. He was a pharmaceutical sales rep. And so he told me this story, and it just blew my mind after I got out of college, to where normally he would have Monday to Friday to call all of his doctors, get all of the work and paperwork submitted and all that kind of stuff. But because he was leaving on Fridays to get to my games on Saturdays, he had to get all of his work done Monday through Thursday, and sometimes even on Wednesday. So he got work done that was supposed to be done in a 5-day period. He got it done in a 3 to 4-day period, just so he can come to my games. And so that showed me the blueprint of, like, this is what you do when that, and that's stuff that you don't need to tell your son. He just
Right.
needs to see that your dad is there. But that's all the things that he did for me, just to make sure that I knew that he was there, because being in Nebraska, I didn't have any family. So he made sure he did that. So so it helped me shift my mindset to what I need to be as a father. Now being a father, it's more rewarding, because I see how he lights up that he has grandkids. So he's very excited. He loves them. He plays around with them, and he is always wanting to be with them and teach them. And it's funny, because he doesn't turn off dad mode. He still does dad mode with, like, the same things that he would tell me as a kid, like, oh, don't do that, don't, like, that kind of stuff. He does it with them. So it's really cool to see. So but I do rely on him. I call him sometimes, especially if I have, like, my frustrating moments with my oldest, like, Dad, this is what he's doing, man. And I'm telling him all the time to stop, and he's not stopping. How do you handle that kind of stuff? And then even marriage advice. My dad's not married anymore. They've been divorced since I was in, like, high school, but he was married for over 10 years. So I call him every time if I have some advice that I need to be a better husband, or to be more of an understanding husband, because sometimes my mindset shifts when it comes to that. So my dad has definitely been my rock, and still is my rock. So he's been there for sure.
That's dope, man. That's dope. You
Mm-hmm.
you uh you mentioned that he showed you, and sometimes, like, you as a father, you do things and you don't necessarily tell them. You just are doing these things because that's your role. Has he
Mm-hmm.
ever, like, had that, like, fatherhood and I know when you ask questions, obviously that kind of prompts the fatherhood
Yeah.
conversation, but, like, prior to you being a father, and this is funny because I think about it myself, like, if I had a son, would I be talking about what it's like to be a dad to him,
Yeah.
like, ahead of time, you know what I mean? Because you got that weird, like, am I telling him to be a dad? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
if I'm talking about how
Yeah.
cool it is to be a father, and this is what
Right.
there's that thing, but then I'm also like, at some point, or you at least believe at some point, your son is going to make you a grandfather. So at some point, he's going to be a father. would it
Mhm.
be beneficial to give him some fatherhood game before he becomes a father, or
Right.
like a lot of people just, I'm just going to show you what being a father is, and then when you
Mhm.
become a father, you ask me questions.
Right.
I'm always asking, like, would it be more beneficial if, as a dad, you kind of talked about fatherhood when your kid gets around that kind of, all right, he might
Yeah.
be mixing it up, having kids, like maybe
Right.
now I give them the game on what being a father is, so they're prepared for it. Um,
Yeah.
I always wonder, like, is that more beneficial, and I don't really know anybody who's had that conversation. You know what I mean? No one has that talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We get the other talk early before it
Right.
happens,
Right.
but we don't
Right.
really get that talk. And we kind of are
Yeah.
are all kind of learning on the job. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think that's probably what I was just gonna say is my dad didn't really like when he found out that I was gonna have a kid, he didn't like really have a father conversation with me of what it's like to be a dad, because that's just not his personality. My dad's always been the one to where it's like you need to do it first and then learn from the mistakes, and then I will help coach you after that, or I'll help give you that fatherly advice after that. So don't get me wrong, I mean, he told me like, hey, you just got to be ready. It's a whole nother level when you have kids. Like, you got another person, a mouth to feed, you got more money that's going to be going out. So he kind of gave me that, but there wasn't really like advice, I would say,
Right,
that he
right.
gave me, like, this is what you need to do, kind of thing. And I wouldn't, and actually I in all honesty, I really wouldn't expect that. And I don't know if I really want that, just because how I am, I like to go into things feeling that I can handle it, and not necessarily anticipate what's going to happen, because then if it doesn't go that way, my mindset is going to be everywhere and saying like, oh, I got to do it this way and got to do it that way. So I'm kind of like, I'd rather just learn on the fly, essentially, and
Yeah.
and it just helps me be better that way. But I would say I I essentially, I guess I got the father talk just through seeing my dad's actions. And that was the main thing. Like, he didn't have to say anything to me. I just saw what he did for me as his son. And that was just, like I said, I just can't say it enough, is that was enough for me to see, like, when I do have kids, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I
Yeah.
need to do, if not more. And so when I found out that how I was having kids, my mind just went. I just started thinking of like all the things that my dad did for me as a kid. I was like, okay, here we go. This is what I need to start to get ready to do, because I want to be the type of dad my dad was. So I wouldn't say to not have that kind of conversation with your son if it's not, you don't need to. But for me personally, it was something that I don't think I needed to have. It was just more of just me realizing that it was going to happen, and then just getting ready, because um, I think that's just the experience that you also get with your wife too. You want to experience those things together, and have your own type of learning things with them, rather than being told what to do. So
Right. Okay. Okay. Now, so did you do any of the fatherhood books or any of that stuff? Like, what to expect when you're expecting, or any of those things?
I did not. I was told to by my wife, and she had asked me to. She had gave me a couple of books to read. I am an awful reader. I mean, I can read. That sounds awful. I mean, I can read, but I just don't like to read, is the
Gotcha.
thing I should say. I have a short attention span. So if it's not sports related, it's really hard to keep my interest. Or I would say financial related, like industry stuff, like investments, that kind of stuff I have to read. But other than that, I don't like to read for fun, essentially is what I'm saying. So, but we actually, which I was really excited about, and why I love my wife so much, is she's a God-fearing woman like myself, God-fearing man. And so we did a lot of devotionals together. Like, we did
Okay.
parent devotionals and stuff like that, that we read virtually, I should say, because she lived in Arizona while she was pregnant, and I was in California. So we just did a FaceTime conversations, and we would just do a daily devotional or a weekend devotional of becoming a good parent. What is it? What is a godly parent? That kind of stuff. And that helped me, because that's something that I think is very important to me, is having God, one, in my relationship, but two, in my family. So that again helped me kind of shift my mindset with my faith into not just being about me. Now I need to have a faith that's going to involve my kids, and start teaching them those kind of things. So So yeah, so that was probably the only thing that I really did, and if to get prepared is just do more of a family and parent devotionals.
Okay. Okay. That's dope. That's dope. I like that
Yeah.
idea. Do you guys still do the devotionals, or is that was that for that time period?
We don't do it as much as we used to, and that's something that I hold myself accountable for, because being in the Bible's eyes, being the man of the house, like that's my responsibility
Mhm.
to bring that to the family. And so from what we used to do, like I said, doing it almost like 5 days a week, 4 days a week, to now doing maybe 1 or 2 days a week. And granted, times are different, business and stuff like that, but still not an excuse to make more time for it. So I hope that's something I definitely want to get back going more, is doing that, because you can never have too much God in your life. So
Right. Okay. All right. So like what are some of the things that you got like parenting wise from the Bible or from religion? Because I mean the devotionals. I mean I haven't done any recently, but I've had periods of my like
mm-hmm.
everybody kind of does, right? Like you have these periods of your
Right.
life where you're like months of devotionals, or you get the book, or maybe you get some prompts on your phone now, or something like that, where you take that few minutes and you read the passage for the day and kind of get
Yeah.
yourself locked in. But I haven't really ever done one centering around parenting. Like it's always been
Yeah.
kind of your own relationship with God, or your
Mm-hmm.
own kind of spirituality. I've never really done one that's parent oriented. How was that for you?
It was amazing in an aspect that it opened my eyes up to just a different part of the Bible and a different part of my faith. And so, like, as an example, like when you're like my kids right now, um, I can tell them things about God and faith, but they're really not going to grasp that. And
Hmm.
so, one of the devotionals I was reading, like as a dad devotional, was this is the time, kind of like talking about earlier. This is the time where you show your kids what it's like to be a God fearing man, what it's like to be a God fearing husband, and what it's like to be a God fearing father. And those examples are your son seeing you read your Bible, because they'll be curious and say, "Daddy, what are you doing?" And then you can let them know, "Oh, I'm reading my Bible," praying with your kids before they go to sleep, just saying the name Jesus, saying the name God around them, just so that way it starts to register in the head and they start to understand it. So that way, once they get older and you do start to go into more detail about it, it's not so much of a foreign language to them. They're like, "Well, what's that? Why? That's not even real." They just already kind of have that in their mind of what has been happening. So at this point, it's just more as a father, just setting the example and just being proactive and mentioning it, just saying, "Hey, we need to take 1 minute to pray to Jesus right now." And so, like as an example, before we go to sleep, with my kids, we sing this song. It's called the Lava Song. It's from this Disney movie thing. So we sing that, and then afterwards, I lay my oldest son down in his bed, and we just say like a quick minute prayer, and we just say what we're thankful for, what we're happy for, and then to have good sleep, no nightmares, and wake up safely, and then we go to sleep. And to him, he doesn't really understand that part, but he at least knows that we're talking to Jesus, and
Right.
so he enjoys that part. So I think that's been a good thing, because it not just helps them, but it helps me. Again, it holds me more accountable to be the God fearing husband that I want to be, and to have that faith in my house, and not just be a guy that shows up to church on Sundays just to show up. Like I want to make sure like that's part of my life. So it's helped tremendously, but it's really been good, because it's opened my eyes up to what I need to do as a father, when it comes to faith and holding um, myself more accountable to those types of things. So
Right. That's good, man. That's real good. Like I like the I don't know what the lava song is, so I'm gonna have to have to Google that. But
yeah,
but I
I'll
do
send it to you.
but I do like, the what you're grateful for, that kind of stuff that you do before bed. Because think a lot of times as adults, and maybe not as kids, because kids typically they aren't there yet, right? And
Right.
sometimes, but as adults, we are typically praying for like what we want. Like we're always asking for
Mm,
something. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you know, that it's that two-way conversation, right? You can't always, like, if I
Mm-hmm.
came to you and every time you saw me, I was asking you for something, you'd be telling people behind my back, man, I can't stand that dude. Every time I see him
Right.
begging for something.
Right.
And like,
Right.
so there's got to be some, like, you know, thankful, grateful, like there have to
Yeah.
be, you know, you're planting those seeds, even if at their age they may not understand it. You're planting the seed of gratitude. You're planting the seed of giving thanks. You know, they may not understand why you're praying to Jesus, but look, hey, I don't want nightmares. So like,
Right.
this is a
Right.
good thing, right? Like if there's
Right.
things that I don't want in my life, I know that there's a higher power that I can lean on to try to help me get through that. And so I think it's great, man. We do it with our kids, you know, as well. And they're a
Mm-hmm.
little older now. And so I kind of we have like a kind of a nightly routine where before we pray, we do three things we're grateful for, one thing we struggled with today, and one thing we want to work on for tomorrow. And
I like that.
the struggle with thing is something new. And I got it because, like, if you go through your whole day, and this is because they're getting older, right? And they're getting, like, my oldest is getting to a point where, like, she's bored, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you didn't have anything today that you struggle with, you didn't challenge yourself, right? And
Mm.
there's something you left on the table. So if nothing challenged
Facts.
you today, then you weren't going hard enough. And then again, just planting the seed, like there should be something that you have to overcome every day. And not
Yeah.
like you know, the odds are stacked against you, but like
Right. Right. Right.
striving for something, and that's going to challenge that you have to overcome. And we're going to be okay with that because we're going to talk about it. And that's the other thing, is like, I want them to feel comfortable being able to talk about their challenges, because that's something I don't think a lot of people, a lot of people struggle with that, right? Like when you got, especially
Mm-hmm.
men, like I got daughters, but men for sure, like we try to take everything on our own. We got
Yeah.
struggles. We ain't talking to nobody about it. Like, I got it. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool. We don't ask for directions. That used to be the thing
Nope.
back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, kind of talking to them about that and allowing them to let that kind of be the norm. Then also following it up with, how are we going to overcome that? Right?
Right.
What can we work on for tomorrow that's going to help us get over that struggle?
Right.
And it's been really cool, because it's sometimes, like, you know, the day goes crazy or whatever, and I'll forget to bring it up, and they're like, hey, wait,
This is what I
wait.
struggle with.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, well,
Yeah.
we don't have to talk about the struggles, but like, okay, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so it's cool when they're young like that, to kind of plant those seeds, because um,
Yeah.
they usually grow into something nice, you know?
Right. 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 Yeah. It helps shift their mindset. You're obviously molding their mind for having those kind of things. I think that's super. I love the fact that you say, what do you struggle with? Because again, I just think, especially at your daughter's age, is that's going to start to become part of the norm for them. Like they're going to start feeling the struggles and doing
Yeah,
those kind of things. And so when they don't already have the mindset of like, oh, me and my dad always talk about what I struggle, so it's cool. Like now I just got to keep on moving on, essentially, kind of thing. Compared to
right,
some kids that may not be prepared for that, they may take a different route and hit them a lot harder. So I think that's great, man. I love that.
right. And I think for me, selfishly, it gives me an opportunity to father one more time before they go to bed.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for
Like
sure.
I get this opportunity to teach one more time before they go
Yes,
to bed. You know what I mean?
definitely.
Like I have an
Definitely.
opportunity to, like, okay, this is what happened. And sometimes it's like it backfires, right? Because bedtime used to be going to, but like they'll have something they're struggling with, and now we're in this full on
Yeah,
conversation.
conversation. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
bedtime is a little later tonight, but like
yeah,
it's enriching and fulfilling at the same time.
yeah. I like it, man. I like it.
Yeah. All right. So I'll I know we're getting close here, and then you gotta run because you're busy. I had a couple questions for you. Is there anything
Sure.
that I didn't ask you, if you were interviewing yourself, that you would have asked?
Nope, man. This has been top notch interview, man. Top notch.
All right. Here's the big one, right? This is what it's all about, right? What does fatherhood mean to you?
Ooh, what does fatherhood mean to me? I would say fatherhood means to me actually a couple of things. One, being able to leave a lasting legacy on my kids. Like I want them to be able to tell their kids, this is what your grandfather did for me. And so this is what I'm going to do for you. I want my actions to speak louder than my words when it comes to fatherhood. Like similar to like what I said about my dad, I'd much rather my kids be able to see me do things rather than have to explain it. Like they can see it that way. I think fatherhood is also being the rock of the family and being the one that's going to take the hits, take the pain away from the kids as much as possible. Granted, like obviously it's not likely to do that every single time, but if I can, I will try to take the pain away from my kids no matter what. Being the protector, I want to protect them from everything and anything. And I just want to make sure that they get everything they want and more, not just material things. Like I want to make sure they get the right support. I want to make sure they get the right education, everything like that. So fatherhood just to me, I guess, just means being there no matter what it is. Dropping what I have to do to be a father and just to be there for my kids when they need me. I don't ever want them to feel that that they need to go somewhere else. Like they need to ask some other guy for something. Like dad is the one-stop shop. That's all you need is your dad, and obviously mom too. But everything you need is right here with dad. So I guess that's what fatherhood means to me. It's just being there for them, being the protector, taking anything away from them pain wise that they may feel, taking it on myself, being that shoulder to cry on if they need, and just to be there to just listen and support.
Wow. Okay. All right. I always think like when I ask that question, it's usually like there's an infinite amount of answers, right? Because fatherhood is so multifaceted. It's like it's this and it's that, and so I think you nailed it there, right?
Cool.
Not like there's any particular answer, right? But I just
right answer, yeah.
Like, but when you're saying it, I'm listening. Like, yeah, that's yep, okay, yep. I'm just hitting the checklist, right? Yeah, that too. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
All right. If people wanted to find you, contact you, on social media or something like that, how would they go about doing that? Or if they wanted to acquire your services as a financial, I don't know if you're taking on new clients or anything, but if they want to get in touch with you, how would they go about doing that? What's the best way?
Yeah. The best way to get in touch with me is just via LinkedIn. I'm actively on there, an active user. You can either just search me, either Dominic Morris, or it's linkedin.com / I think it's Dom Morris ML, Merrill Lynch, Dom Morris ML. You can search me that way. I do have a website, www.fa.ml / Dominic.com is that too as well. And those are the ways to contact me. The main way I would say is just LinkedIn. I'm actively on there and using that. So don't be shy. I think the main thing that I always tell people is, especially when it comes to the Black community, is people are just embarrassed. They think that, I don't have enough money. Why would an advisor ever want to work with me? That kind of stuff. And so I think even if you don't have enough money and you don't need my full spectrum of services, just having somebody there just to give you advice and just to talk to help you, I will do that. I don't charge for that kind of stuff. So just I'd say people just need to take steps to help better their financial literacy. And I mean, I think right now, last thing I'll say is, a lot of people with the season is they want to be like fit and have the summer body and all that kind of stuff. But I always ask my clients, like, are you fiscally fit? You may be fit in fitness in your body, but are you fiscally fit? And so I think that's the thing that a lot of people need to think about is, if you feel like if you say like, yeah, I do, like, I bet you I can identify some areas probably where you're not as physically fit as you think you are. So it's just good to just reach out and just talk to somebody like myself and just to have a general conversation just to see where you're at and see where you want to be.
I like that. That might be the title of the episode. Are you fiscally fit?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
mean that's super important, and obviously I'm a fitness guy, and so that the
Yeah.
fitness part definitely rings in my ears, but the fiscally fit part, especially as a father, right? I mean it's the
Yeah.
four Fit Fatherhood podcast, right? But
Yeah.
finance is
Yeah.
one of those four, and if you're not fiscally fit, then
Hmm.
you're putting a strain on your family that maybe not necessary, putting a strain on yourself too, like
Yeah.
trying to grind and do all these things when you could just make some better decisions to set you up to
Yeah.
have more time freedom, because I think that at the end of the day it's kind of what everybody is searching for, is more time freedom in general, but more time
Right.
freedom, and the ability to be the things that you want to be, wake up when you want to and not have to answer to anybody, kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. You just, I think the main thing that a lot of people get scared of is on the fiscally fit part am I going to have enough money? Am I going to have enough money to retire? And am I going to outlive my money when I retire? Like that's a lot of the mindset that a lot of people think about. And so again, that's essentially where the advisor comes in. And I'm an advocate of doing financial planning. So we basically take like an hour and a half, and we just dive into your finances. We put all the numbers together. We come up with a net worth analysis, and that basically tells us this is how much your net worth is. This is how much money you're going out. Is your net worth higher than your liabilities? Essentially, do you have a positive or negative net worth? And that's just a real eye-opening thing for a lot of people, because people that are out there that are rich and got a lot of money, they got a lot of expenses too. So they think that, oh, I'm making X, Y, and Z. So it's just important to have like a physical copy of paper that can show you this is where you're at now. This is what I'm doing with my money. When I get to retirement, this is where I'm going to be at. This is how much money I'm going to be spending when I'm in retirement. Am I going to outlive my money? All that kind of stuff. So, and I do that for all my clients and prospective clients as well that want it. And I do that for free as well. So it's just something good to have, just to see where you're at, and just a good confirmation. If you feel like you're on the right path with your finances, this will confirm that or let you know some changes need to be made. So
Yeah, I definitely need to get with you on that. That's for sure.
yeah,
So
man.
when we get off of here, and I get around, I'll hit you up later on about it. But I definitely want to see where we're at. We had a financial advisor, a while ago, but he retired, and so we just kind of been running off of old information.
That's the trend, man. Similar to baby boomers retiring, all financial advisors are retiring, man.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
average
So
age financial advisor is 66. That's the
yeah,
average age.
he was an old dude, right? And
Old
so
man.
so he was like, yeah, we got some other guys in the office, and I'll pass your information down. And I might have heard from the other guy like once. And then I wasn't
Mm,
actively like doing my part of it. And he obviously was like, he got handed a file and was like, yeah, whatever.
right. Yeah,
uh,
man.
and so,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely
That's a
want to,
ugh.
especially now with the transition that I've made in my own, career. I definitely now want to see where we're at, see what adjustments I need to make sure that we continue to
Yeah.
live the life that we live, and, get the vacation and do all that stuff that we
That's the
love to
whole
do.
thing, man. Living your lifestyle, not having to change it, man. So I'm here for you, man. I got you. I'll take care of it.
All right. All right, man. I appreciate you for joining us, man. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I gotta have you back. We can get more into the fiscally fit part of it and
Yeah.
dive a little deeper into that. I know we talked about
Yeah.
some other things, and so you guys will be hearing from Dom a little bit more. But thank you again, brother. Enjoy the rest
Hey,
of your
man. I
day,
appreciate it.
and
Thank you, sir.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
All right, bro.
All right.